Well, when Tony had his penalty, I mean, that was a gift for us. His car was so fast, and he was doing a really good job driving it, that, my first impression was that he'll be back. He'll come back up here and he'll be the guy to beat. But it put him in a box where he had to take two tires with, I think, 60 or 70 laps to go. And it really showed everyone what you could do on two tires. So it made it easier for us to decide to take two tires on the last pit stop. Now, if he hadn't had that penalty, there may have been someone else who would have taken two tires and really snookered all of us. But as it stood, he kind of showed us the way there. All right. Gotta be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I had my mom, my mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter, and here I am sitting in this airplane thinking, this is what I always wanted, and I got it. So we we did have some fun, and man, it's cool to be on with you. I was thinking as I was coming over here, Kenny, about hanging out there on Windy Road at your shop, and you let me come down there and introducing me to Timmy and all the guys, and now we're legitimate contenders right now in the Cup Series, winning races and flying around with women in my jet. It's great. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. I did the best I could to manage it, but that was really disappointing. I mean, you guys know, you all know how tough it is to have a dominant car in this series ever. So that car was so good at Phoenix, and I felt like we gave the win away. And and I know Tony feels like that this week. He feels like they had this dominant car and they gave it away, and that feeling is awful. And the thing that I said, hey, look, we got good cars, we can come back, we can do this. But until you go rebound and you have a weekend like we just had at Vegas, that sticks with you. Yeah, yeah. Right. That's funny you put it in that perspective. I was thinking about that in the media center. Someone said, "Oh, you're running so well. Is it because you're a new father and you're married and you're calmed down and all that stuff?" And I thought, that's the same stuff you guys said was slowing me down a year ago. I mean, that's what my problem was. All right, so um, it seems like whatever you're doing, whether it's good or bad, that's the reason. And I think the key for us is really it starts right there with Jack Roush, Robbie Reiser. The whole team has been working hard. Our engines are great. Doug Yates' power is amazing. And if you look, it's not something that I'm doing or Bob's doing. It's our whole team. It's all the Ford camp. I mean, Marcus Ambrose, 4th place. Trevor Bayne win the Daytona 500. We're having a great year altogether. It doesn't matter. I was really worried about the winter time. I thought this is going to ruin us. We won at Phoenix, at Homestead. I thought, this downtime is going to hurt us. But I have a lot more confidence in our team and where we're at now. And I think this off weekend is going to be fun. I'm going to, do all the fun stuff that I do around Columbia, like hang out here at the Garden Center at Walmart and, just hang with the family and just relax a little bit. And it's great to win and have an off weekend because, nobody can beat you that weekend, I guess. Yeah, I hear you. All right, thanks for having me on the show, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And thanks to all the fans. I had so many fans at Vegas. It was unreal. There was people wearing the Aflac shirts and coats, and I mean, the whole thing was a blast. So thank you guys very much. season. They started off a little slow, and I thought, oh, they should be running better than that. By the end of the season, they were obviously in championship form. So, Jimmy will do that. He'll kind of lay back and act like, oh, we're not doing that great, but I'm not giving that guy an inch. They're going to be tough. It's really early in the season to say who's going to be the challenger, but I think that you've got to look at really everyone right now. I mean, 3 races in, new point system, the wild card format. I mean, there are a number of guys who can win this championship, and the key is going to be peaking at the right time. And I think the other thing will be that, as you saw last year, 3 guys went into the final race with a shot at the championship. I think this year it could be 3, 4, maybe even 5 guys if if everyone's equipment keeps working the way it is, and we don't have these DNFs, and if people can avoid the wrecks. I think it's really anybody's championship. Well, that period taught me a lot. It taught me that all the speculation in the world doesn't mean anything. You've got to go out and prove what you can do. You've got to execute, and it really that time we spent struggling and trying to regain the ground we'd lost, it taught me a lot about teamwork. At Roush Fenway, we have a group of people from the drivers, the engineers, the management, Jack. I mean, everybody, the sponsors. We all, instead of all of us pointing fingers and moving apart, we came together and worked toward a common goal. And for the last 5 or 6 races, you've seen Fords up front every week, qualifying in the race. Our pit stops are great, and that's because of that teamwork. And that's I think what that hardship taught me. I don't know if those are the only 2 options with the line between them. There's so much that can happen on the racetrack. I guess the thing that sticks with me as far as determining how you're going to race someone and whether you're going to pay them back or you're going to let things slide, it all came from my first interaction with Mark Martin that wasn't so good. Mark ran into me at Bristol a ton and sent me to the fence. I barely saved the race car. I thought, man, I wonder what that was for. And I called Mark back on Monday. I called him and said, hey, what was going on there? And he said a few words to me that I'll never forget. He said, Carl, he said, I thought that's how you wanted to race. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, that's kind of how you've been racing, so that's what you chose, and I'd be glad to race that way. And I was like, no, sir. I'd really like to go back and try it a different way. And he said, well, that's fine too, but I'm going to race you however you race me. So that's, I think, the code of most of the drivers out there is you don't mess with me, everything will be all right, but if you want to race that way, we can. Yeah, I kind of caught Bob in a private moment this week on the radio, and the thing about Bob is he's so fun to mess with because you can't shock him, you can't do anything to really rile him up. He just rolls with it and has a good time, and that was pretty fun this week to joke with him. I don't think the new point system has really affected our strategy yet. I think you will see later in the season when it really comes down to crunch time, whether it's making the chase or winning the championship, you might see guys doing things differently. Maybe, being a little more conservative with their engine programs, maybe driving more conservatively as we get to certain spots, and then maybe driving more aggressively to try to get those wins to get those bonus points. But I think because there's such a big spread from winning to running 43rd, people are going to drive a little bit differently when it's all on the line. I don't really know what I'm going to do this off weekend. I don't really have anything planned, and that's kind of nice. So hopefully I'll just get to spend a little bit of time here in Columbia and spend time with my family. And the biggest thing is just coming off a win like this at Vegas. It just makes everything go real smoothly, and I'm going to enjoy this off weekend no matter what I do. All right, well, thanks a lot. It's nice to talk to you.